A Palestinian man, Mosab Hassan Yousef, has written a book called Son of Hamas, in which he reveals turning against the Palestinian terrorist group, his conversion from Islam to Christianity, and growing up as the prince of Hamas. Son of Sheikh Hassan Yousef, one of the major leaders of the militant Palestinian organization, he also writes about how he spent the last few years as an intelligence informant to Israel. And today we're joined by Mosab Hassan Yousef. He's here to tell his story. Hello, Mosab, and welcome to the program. Thanks very much for being here today.
Hi, Todd. My pleasure.
Well, to give viewers a little bit more background, you grew up in the West Bank doing what many Palestinian youth do, throwing rocks at the Israeli military. But you also described yourself as a bodyguard and driver for your father, who was and still is the leader of the terrorist organization Hamas. You attended high-level meetings with him and other top Palestinian leaders, yet when imprisoned by Israel, you eventually agreed to work for them as a spy, codenamed the Green Prince. Why?
The process of transformation is long, and it wasn't overnight. I had a moral responsibility. I had to do what was right to help stop killing of children and women and innocent people.
You really thought your transition into a spy would save a lot of innocent lives. That's really what you thought, correct?
In fact, I wasn't a spy. We were working together with the Israeli intelligence. We were partnering in this process to stop the killing on both sides. For example, without me in that relationship, my father would be killed today. Many Hamas leaders would be killed, and many other Palestinians. So simply, we were working together to stop violence on both sides. I wasn't only working for the Israeli agendas.
But you described yourself in your book as a spy. You remember calling yourself a spy and saying you liked these spy games. So, but you really looked up to your father as well as a religious leader who cared deeply for the people. Did you ever think that you might follow in his footsteps?
Of course, I was expected to follow his steps, but you know, I had to choose what was right, and the path of Islam, I don't see it as the right path for myself and for others.
We'll get to your relationship with your father now in a little bit, but you do say in the book that even though he personally never killed anyone, you said, my father went along with the attacks. Does that mean that you went along with the attacks too because you were with him at times? Because there was a point when other Hamas members looked to you for leadership when he was either away or in prison.
Yes, I say that every Muslim, they don't have to be partnering in or a part of a process of killing Israelis or any other people. If they are in that society and they give a cover and they praise suicide bombers, they are partnering. At some point of my life, yes, I was a partner of that, not of sending suicide bombers, but to say that I'm a Muslim and Islam is a religion of peace. This is enough to give cover to all terrorists.
Getting back to how you say that you saved lives by working for the Shin Bet, the Israeli intelligence agency, exactly how, describe a situation, for instance, of how you may have saved lives by stopping a suicide bombing or something to that extent.
Intelligence is different than using force. Army is a different type of work. You send the tanks, you send helicopters, and you try to assassinate a person, and you kill many people. Intelligence is different. Intelligence, we solve the puzzle before the action is taking place. We discover a suicide bomber. Once we stopped a suicide bomber, this meant that this suicide bomber couldn't kill Israelis. If you go back to the news, every time after we had there was a suicide bomber, Israel had a huge reaction against Palestinians, against Palestinian civilians sometimes. So when we stopped a suicide bomber, we saved Israeli lives, and we saved the Palestinian civilians from the Israeli deadly reaction.
Mosab, during your years in prison, you spent a long time in prison. And during that time, part of the time anyway, you converted from Islam to Christianity. You, in essence, turned against your father, your family, and when you accepted Christianity, you even went so far as to say that the biggest terrorist is the God of the Qur'an. Does that mean you've actually turned your back on all Muslims as well, or just the religion itself?
Thank you very much for this question. I turned my back on the God of Islam. I believe that the God of Islam is the main problem. If we want to be honest with ourselves, and if Muslims also want to be honest with themselves, it's in their Qur'an, it's in their teaching that the God of the Qur'an, He is the motive behind all this terrorism. So I simply turned my back on the Qur'an, on the ideology, on the God of that ideology. I love my people. I will serve them, and I want to help them to get out of this endless circle of violence.
And Mosab, we just have a short time left. How are you dealing with reality you may never get back to the Middle East, and are you fearful for your life right now?
It breaks my heart that I can't go back to the Middle East now, and I cannot even talk to my family. This is the real face of Islam, and I'm on a war with the God of Islam, and He's using my people who I love against me now. It's not their position, it's God of Islam, and I believe that I will be back to the Middle East when we defeat this terrorist God.
All right. And we will follow your travels. Mosab Hassan Yousef, thank you very much for sharing your story with us today.
ABC News Now. Good to know.